may have missed some of what Darlene was saying. She was saying if you want to make it easier to see what I'm presenting, go ahead and change the layout, and you'll see that button in the top of your WebEx screen, and you can change the layout to full view or full screen mode. I am going to share my screen. Today we're going to, first let me start by saying, hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to LibCal training. My name is Joseph and I'm from the Buckles office. Today we're going to go over the basics of LibCal. I'm going to get you logged in and we're going to go over the basic navigation of it and show you how to update your calendar banner image and how to enter a new event, and then eventually how to kind of manage those events and the different types of events that we have, and then embed that calendar on your website. So I'm going to start by just sharing my screen. And hopefully you are all seeing the news page from Buckles Connect. So there's a few different ways to log into LibCal. The best way to do it is, or the easiest way to do it is to go to Buckles Connect, and then the launcher menu in the top right-hand corner over here, you're going to see an option for LibCal. If you click on that, it will open up a new tab for you and you can log in. Now, before you can log in, we need to finish setting up your account. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to need from you before you'll be able to log in, but I'll show you everything today. And then when I hear from you with the few things that we need, you'll be able to log in on your own. The first thing I need from the library, and this should come from Jill, it would be great if you can email me directly. I need the email account that you would like connected to your LibCal account. So that means any communication from LibCal is going to go to this email account. Usually what we do is we set up an alias, events at, and in your case, it would be sopl.org, and that would be connected to an email account on your side. So we can just add that alias to whichever account that you would like. Then you're going to use that email address to log in. And anytime you need to do anything with LibCal, you're going to use that email address, which is, again, events at sopl.org or sopl.org. And then whichever email account that is connected to, those communications will go to that email account. So usually what we do, again, is set up an alias of events at. You can set up a full email account if you'd like. It's totally up to you. So you will use events at sopl.org as your email. I'm going to log in with my admin email. And then once we set up this account for you, you will get an email from LibCal, from SpringShare, in that email account, whatever's connected to events at sopl.org, and it'll allow you to change your password or set a password for your account, and you'll use that password to log in each time. So again, to log in, I went to Buckles Connect, and I went to the launcher, and then clicked on LibCal, and that will bring the login screen for LibCal, and once you log in, you'll see this. When you are logged in, just double check up here in the top left-hand corner that the option in the blue drop-down does say LibCal. It may say LibApps, it may say LibGuides. If it doesn't say LibCal, just go ahead and choose LibCal from the menu. And then you can, from here, you'll see a slightly different options across the top because I am logged in right now with an admin account. You won't see all of these options exactly the same, but you will definitely see this one that says events, and you're going to click on that to get to your calendar. So you're going to click on events, and then South Orange is on the second page. So I'll go to page 2 over here, and I'm going to click on the South Orange Public Library link. This will bring you to your calendar view for staff. So this is your calendar view. This is not what the public sees. This is what you're going to see. So on this calendar, you will see all of the events that you create, including draft events, those things that you have not published, as well as published events. So I'm going to just start by kind of going through the options across the top here and what you're going to see in each portion of this. So on the calendar tab is the one that you arrive on. You're going to see a couple of different things. Here is your URL for your public URL. And if I go ahead and click on that, I'm going to open it into a new tab so we can see. This is what it looks like right now. There are no events, right? There's really nothing all that exciting to look at. There's no banner image across the top. There's really nothing except for the name of your library. So I will go over later how you can update that. Going back to the calendar tab, I'm also going to see that, yes, we're in the right time zone. This is how you're going to print your calendar, this view that you're seeing right now, and you can change the print view here. So I can add an event. I can go to a specific date. I can navigate through different months here. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see all the different filters that you can use, as well as the different views that are possible. So right now we're in the month view, that is the default view, and I'm going to go to my week or day, very similar to any other calendar application that you may have used. So we'll come back to this screen in a minute when it's time to set up a new event. Now I'm just going to go across the top here. Our Event Explorer tab is where you're going to do all of your reporting for your calendar. So you just fill out all these different drop downs and or do a specific search, and you can run some reports for your calendar. You can skip over publishing workflow. We don't really use that, mainly because you have one account for your calendar. Next is calendar settings. This is the one that you definitely want to go to and make sure that everything looks good. First, the title of your library calendar is South Orange Public Library. The short description is where you can add some code to update your calendar's banner image. So the code can be found within Buckles Connect. There's a bunch of training material that can be found in Buckles Connect on LibCal. And I'm going to just jump back over there and show you. So if you go to Buckles Connect and then Pages and Training, if you navigate to the LibCal page, you'll see there's lots of different documentation on how to do different things within. Some of it links directly to the LibCal site, and some others are documentation that we wrote. So here's your getting started, and here's the one that I was talking about, customize your library calendar's banner image. So if you go ahead and click on that, it's going to give you some code, some instructions and code that you're going to add to that box. So I just highlight all this code. I'm going to copy that and I'll stick that into that box. And then you'll see there's a couple of different things that you want to update here so that it refers to your library. So this is the box that you're going to paste that into. And I'm just going to jump over so you can see what the final result would be. I'm going to go to the Events tab, and I'm going to just choose a different library. And I know that Tenafly is very active in their calendar with their calendar. So this again is their view, but if I jump over, and if you notice, not only did they update the banner image across the top, they updated all of the different colors, and I'll get into that in just a second. So if I go ahead and click on if I open up their public view, this is what their public view looks like. So you can see the banner image across the top, and you can click in or hover over and see any of their events there. So definitely make sure that you update that banner image. And again, that the instructions for that are located in Buckles Connect, and you'll see the code and also instructions on how to update that code. One of the things you're going to have to do is add an image to the system, and it's going to ask you to go to LibApps And that's located right here in that blue drop-down menu. You're going to go to Lib Apps in order to add that banner image. If you ever have any questions on that as you're doing it, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will walk you through it. So we had our calendar settings. Within the calendar settings, below the short description, you have your visibility. So right now it is public. This is the calendar owner. Once I have that email address from you, the one that you want your account connected to, I will update this to say South Orange, and it will say South Orange Library. I would say do not change this, because once you change this, you lose the ability to edit your own calendar. So you don't even have to worry about that, but you will see that this changes once we fully set up your account. This is your default registration form. So if you want to create a registration form that is the default form that you use for all of your events, you can change it when you're creating an event. But if you want to change the default one that is used, you go ahead and change that here. And you'll see there's lots and lots of different registration forms that have been created by all the different libraries. And we'll get into registration forms today as well. And then the last thing you really want to look at on this page is the friendly URL. Right now, the URL for your public library is, for your public calendar, it just ends with South Orange. You can change that if you want. You can have it say South Orange Public Library or SOPL, however you want it to look. And then these are some settings that you can decide that should be the default. If you want, we usually leave them off. It's totally up to you. You can allow events to book multiple locations and rooms. If you want that default, you can have that. And you can make registration required. If you know you're going to use that for every event that you do, you can go ahead and add that, but you can add it in the event as well. So it's not necessary to change that here. And I would definitely recommend that you don't check this one, because that prevents any duplicate registrations. And sometimes we allow people to register multiple people using the same email address or phone number. Then you have your email settings, and you can go ahead and kind of look through these. These are all of your default emails that are sent out for an event. So you can go ahead and check out the wording on those and see if there's anything you want to update there. And then the look and feel, this is how your calendar looks. Do you want it to, the default view be month, or would you rather it be the weeks or day view? It's totally up to you to change that. Usually the month is the easiest to see. And would you like to start on Sunday or Monday? You can choose to show the weekends. So go ahead and look through these and see if you want to update any of those. And again, they are related to your South Orange Public Library calendar. You can change the colors in this next section. And as I showed you in Tenafly, they updated their colors to match their brand colors. So you can do that here as well. And you can add any custom CSS at the bottom. The next tab over is categories, and you can use this page to add categories that are available only to the South Orange Public Library calendar. So we have added a bunch of categories that are basically consortium-wide, but if you would like to add categories that are specific to your calendar, you can do that here. Really the other two, you don't really have to worry about too much. The integrations, you can integrate your Google Calendar ID. You can basically integrate this with one of your Google Calendars. That is something we would have to set up together. The embed and export, same thing. Actually, the iCal subscription you may be able to set up on your own. And basically, you're just adding this link to your calendar. Okay, so let's go to what you really came here for. You'd like to create an event, right? So when I'm on my calendar tab, I can choose to add a new event by clicking this button here, or you can go right to the date and you can double click on the date and it will open up the same window. So it's changing your view. This is where you're going to set everything for the event that you're setting up. everything from the date, the time, the title, to the occurrence. So how many times is this event going to repeat? Is this a one-time thing? And you'll add your description, and you'll add all kinds of other things, including your registration. So going from the top down, you want to pick the date. If you double clicked on the date, it'll automatically appear here. You can choose the start time, and if you notice, it is required. So you have to choose some kind of time. So let's say 1 p.m., and we're going to end time at 3 p.m. The padding for setup and teardown is basically if you want to add some time to the beginning of your event and to the end for setup and teardown, you want to do it here. Basically, if you're choosing a location, it's going to, and you add setup padding time. So basically, if you have an event in your children's room, and you have a setup time of 15 minutes, if there's anything scheduled in that children's room prior to the event that you're trying to create, and you want to add some padding, it'll tell you this room is already being used. Or the next time, if you have a teardown for 15 minutes after your event and you go to set up a new event in that same room, it's going to say, you can't do this, you can't start this until this is over. So if you know you're going to be using the same room back to back and you want to set that extra time, this is where you're going to do it. Again, setup padding is before the event and teardown is after. And here is where you're going to decide if it's an all-day event, or if you would like the event to repeat. So when you click this as a repeating event, you have a few different options. So you can set it as a repeating event daily, weekly, or monthly. And as you change those, you'll see the options change. So you could say every week, every 1 week on Tuesday, right? Or in this case, it's a Thursday. So let's say every week on Thursday. It will set an event on your calendar for every week on Thursday at 1 o'clock. And you can choose an end date. So at that date, all of those repeats will end. And you can also choose the multi-date picker. So rather than saying it's going to always occur on these dates, the same date and the month, what you can do is choose the specific dates where those events are going to happen. So maybe I have that December 14th as my first date, but now I want to add a new date. So I'm going to pick it here. Let's say I want to do the 27th, and I'm going to add a new one on January 5th. So now I add those dates, and here's my list of dates where this particular event is going to happen. Okay, moving on. I have my event title, so let's call this test event. And I need a description. And we need to add an image. Just so you know, in this description box, you can add images here as well. You can add anything. It's a basic formatting window that you're used to seeing in all kinds of other applications. So lots of other things are possible to add. So you can add an image right here. So if you add an image, it will ask you to go to your image manager and choose that image. But you can also add a featured image here. And I can do that by adding the URL of the image that I know if I already have that URL, or I can upload an image right from here. So there is a button here for you as well. If you use LibGuides, which I'm not sure that you do, you can choose a LibGuide here. But if you know that we've done a LibGuide in the past that you want to add, you can add that from here as well. And those are basically reading lists. Our committees use those quite often, every month actually. And then here is where you want to, or if you want to update the friendly URL for this, so maybe we want to call this a test event at the end, so it matches my event title. So now here is my full URL for this event, and I can link directly to it. Next, I want to add the Buckles library. So I want to look for South Orange, and I'm going to add South Orange Public Library. And basically, if you hover over any one of these little icons here, it's going to tell you all about the field that you're working in. So basically, we need to tell it that this is where it's happening. It's happening at South Orange Public Library. It is not the specific location. That's coming up later. So the next one, which is called location, and I know it seems a bit of a misnomer because it's actually not the location. This is who's organizing it. So you want to, again, choose South Orange Library. It's not listed right now because we don't have an account for South Orange Library. Once we do, that will be listed here. And basically what this is doing, as you'll see, it's going to update the event organizer box. So when your patrons click on your event, there's a little box there that tells about the library. It gives them the address, the contact information, a picture, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So this is where you want to make sure that you choose, again, South Orange Library, and that will update that event organizer box. You can choose to add a presenter to this. You can just write in their name, or you can choose an account. Maybe it's just your library, or most people just leave that blank. And now you can select audiences. So we have all different categories that, again, were added from for the entire consortium. So you can choose a category from here. And you can update the color so that it matches all your other categories that are happening, or all your other events that are happening within the same category. These are all totally optional. Notice there's no star next to these down here, so you don't actually have to do any of these. You can type in an anticipated attendance number if you'd like to, because then when you're doing your reporting later and you see how many people actually attended versus how many you anticipated, it's a nice way to kind of keep track of those things and maybe update your marketing plans accordingly. So you would add that right here. And here are your internal tags, so you can update some internal tags there as well. And your internal note, and the internal note, again, is hidden from public view. It is only for internal purposes. So maybe you want to write a note about maybe setup and teardown. Now we have the event location. So where is this happening? And now we're speaking specifically to where in your library. So if you click on here, you'll see all of the different locations located in each library. So we're going to need a list from you of the different locations in South Orange Library where you may have events. So anything where you want to tell them it's the children's area, or it is the main library, or it is the lawn outside, wherever you hold events, go ahead and send me that list. When you are setting up the email account or letting me know about the email account, also give me a list of locations for South Orange. So and then when it's time to choose the location here, all you'll have to do is type in South Orange, and all of the South Orange options will show up. Notice there are none now. But if I was going to do this for, say, Tenafly, I would type in Tenafly, and then I see all my options, and I can just choose the one that I want. The next has to do with online location. So if this is not an online event, you just keep it as no online location. If it is an online event, you can enter the Zoom information or Facebook Live. I'm going to keep it as a no online location because I'm going to say it's actually happening somewhere. By entering this event location, this is where I was talking before about the setup and teardown. This is how it's going to detect if it's available or not. So you can actually you can choose a location and then check availability by clicking this button over here to the right. And the next section is called event registration. And this is where you're going to decide if registration is required for this event. And if it is, go ahead and click this button or check this button. And then it's going to ask you information about this registration. So do you have a maximum number of people that can register for this? And which registration form would you like to use for this? Is it just full name and email, or would you like to choose one that you've created from this list? Again, I'll show you those registration forms and how to create one. And then you want to choose when registration opens for this event. Does it open, on a custom date, like on this date it will open, or is it just like a week before you're allowing registration to open? So you want to choose that. And then when does the registration close? Does it close at start time, or does it close sometime before that? Do you want to give yourself a buffer in there? Usually our events don't cost anything, but if you want to add something, you can go right ahead. That's totally up to you. Maybe there's a fee that goes along with your event. And then you can choose to allow multiple attendees with a single registration and allow a waiting list when it's fully booked. So, and we'll see that in a minute about where you kind of manage those things once the event is published. And here is anybody that you would like to get a confirmation email when somebody registers. So if you want to add another account, another email address, or maybe it's you specifically because you're creating this event, you want to add your own email here so you know how many people are registering for it. You can go ahead and add that here. Otherwise, it is just going to send that email to the main email address online or on your account. So if we did set up a series event, and this one is at the beginning, I'm just going to scroll back to the top. At the beginning, remember we added this as a series event. This event repeats, and I chose 3 different days where this is going to happen. Scroll back down to my event registration section. So this is a series link registration, which means if you hover over here, you'll say, if it's occurring on multiple dates and I need them to have one registration for all 3 of my dates, I'm going to check this box. That way, when they register for it, they know they are registered for all 3 dates. If you want them to register for each date individually, don't check this box. So it's up to you in deciding how you are going to have, if this is a reading time that you do every week, but they have to register each session, don't check this box. If you want them to be able to register for everything, like you're doing a training session or something like that, go ahead and check the box. Again, remember to hover over the I if you're not sure. And then you're going to choose when to send the email reminder. Do you want it 1 hour before, or are you going a week before the event or a day before? So go ahead and choose that. And then do you want to send a follow-up email? And if so, when would you like that to happen? Okay, so in the last couple of options, attachments, if you have an attachment that you would like included on this, or if you want to send something to your social media account, you can do that here. And then lastly, we have publish. So you can either choose to publish, which is the default, or you can choose it to be an unpublished draft. So if you choose that, and then you click add new event, it will show up on your calendar, but it will show up as a draft and it will not go to the public right away. Once you choose publish, that will show on your public calendar. And if you notice, they gave me an error message saying, oh, I can't do this yet because I didn't choose all the options yet. You need to choose all those options before it allows you to publish an event. And I'm not going to do that because I don't want to clutter your calendar. So when creating this event, remember, or when creating any events, remember that you have those 3 options. You have just a simple one-time event. You have a series of events that basically happen the same time on the first Monday of the month or something like that, or you have an event that is on different days, but it's the same event like I added here. So we had 3 different completely unrelated days. Now, I want to open it up to questions. If we have any questions now, I'd like to see if you can answer some of those before moving on.
Hey, Joseph,
Yes.
does it sound any better?
Oh, it sounds a lot better.
Okay. I do not see any questions at the moment. So if anybody does have any questions, please type them in the chat box. And Joseph, I'll keep an eye on the chat box next time you ask for questions.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so in order to show you how to manage your events, I'm actually going to go and flip over to another calendar that has some events. So I'm going to go to Tenafly again because they do a really nice job of keeping things updated and using it. So here is, let's imagine this says South Orange. Here's your calendar, and I want to manage an upcoming event. So I want to go ahead and edit an upcoming event. So here's today. I'm just going to pick a day in the future. Here's an event. If I just click on that, it gives me a basic rundown of this event. So it tells me the date and the time, the title of it. Here's my description, and the location, the campus. So these are those things that we entered before. The location was that event location where you actually choose the room, and then we have the campus, which was the other option, to think of what it was called under the events. But basically, I can modify any of this information by clicking on the button on the bottom right-hand corner that says Modify Single Event. So what it's going to do, now I'm seeing this is a recurring event. So if I just click on Modify Single Event, it's going to allow me to modify just this event detail, or just the details for this event. But if I click on the drop-down menu, you'll see I can modify all recurring events within this the series. So be sure that you are choosing the correct options when you go in to modify your event. Sometimes if registration is already open, sometimes things are not possible. You can't modify some things because registration is already open. So it will tell you that. The system will tell you that as you try. So I'm going to go ahead and modify a single event. And if you notice, it brings up all of my information for this event. Let's just remember what that thing was called. So we have our Buckles library. This is the campus that we just saw in the event info. So you can see they have their audiences are all picked, and they chose multiple audiences for this one. They didn't choose a category. You don't have to choose a category. And in their registration, they chose 20 people maximum, and they choose to send out to close the registration 4 days before the event. So, and notice they do have a wait list option, and there are currently 4 in their waiting list, and we can go ahead and look at those things. So they've also updated their emails, their reminder email, and so you can go into each individual event and modify anything as you see fit. And again, this will just be for your calendar. You won't see Tenafly. I'm going to go back in, and I just want to say we were looking at Chemistry Club, right? If I click on that one more time, I'm going to open up my event information. Within here, I'm also going to see the event URL, and I have a little eyeball icon here, and I can actually preview this on the public page. So I'm going to click on that, and this is what it looks like. This is what an event looks like to the public. You'll see the title, the description, You can also see down here in the bottom left, begin registration. This is where your patrons will click to open the registration form that you've created, and they'll fill out their information and they'll register. And notice it's telling me I'm registering for the wait list because this event is already full, but I can still register for the waiting list. Earlier, I also mentioned that there is an event organizer box. Here it is here in the top right-hand corner. You see event organizer. They have chosen to include their logo and then the name of their library and their contact information, as well as their social media links. So this is all something that you can update. And again, you will find that the instructions on how to do that by going to Buckles Connect. If you go to the LibCal page, there is number 3 is customizing your profile for the event organizer box. And so you just go ahead and follow the directions there, and it'll show you how to do that. It's very simple. Copy some code, paste it in, and update the information. So this is basically what an event looks like. This is their featured image for the event, and all the other details that we looked at before. I'm going to jump back over so I can see how I'm managing this. If I'm good with this because it's in the future and I've updated everything I want to, I can go ahead and close this. But now let's say that we have an event that we had in the past and I want to manage that. So I click on that event. And here, if you notice, because it's in the past, it's now going to tell me, it's going to give me a couple of new fields that I can fill in. I can update this with the amount of in-person registrations and how many were, in-person attendance and how many were online. So if you had an online event and in-person, or if it was a hybrid event, you can add them here. If it was a only in-person event, go ahead and add the number here. And then if it was only online, you can add the number here. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to run the reports and see how many people attended your event. When you are holding the event, if I click manage event here, I'm going to see all the different registrations. And if you look to the right, I'm going to be able to confirm their attendance. So let's go back and maybe look at another event. Let's find one of theirs that has lots of registrations. I want to go back far enough so I don't mess with it. Okay, let's see if they have any registrations in there. So if I click on manage event, now I'm going to see a list of people who have registered for the event. And on the day of, this is a great way, like when you're holding the event, if you want to mark down their registration, you can do that right here. You can just have it on your tablet, and you can confirm their registration. You can check them off. And so then later again, when you're running reports, you can say like, this is how many people registered and this is how many people actually showed up. And you can also see your wait list. If there is a wait list for the event, you can see who's on that wait list. You can email all the attendees, and you can create a new email message that you would like to send to the attendees. And you can create an event button for this. So you're actually creating an event button specifically for this that you would like to embed on your website. In the overview, you'll see basically the overall description of the event. And you can see some statistics for it here. It'll open up and kind of show you a little bit more information now. I don't know exactly what they've added to it, so I can't really say if it's totally up to date. So that is creating an event and then modifying the event and then managing the event once the event has occurred. any questions about anything that we've gone over?
So Joseph,
Yeah.
I do have a question that was in the chat box.
Okay.
You mentioned that a Google Calendar can be imported. Can a WordPress calendar also be imported?
Not that I know of. I've never seen an option for a WordPress calendar. Basically, what the Google Calendar is doing, it's allowing you to sync your LibCal calendar with your Google Calendar. So it's not importing Google Calendar. What it's doing is it's sending the information from LibCal to your Google Calendar. So it's not pulling information from Google.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone else, okay. If no registration is necessary for an event, can you add attendance after the event for reporting?
Yes, it's the same spot. So when you manage, when you click on the event, and here I'm going to click on the event. Here under that manage event, as you see it here, you'll see in-person, online. So this always shows up after an event has happened. You don't have to require registration to update attendance.
Thank you, Joseph. If
You're
anyone else has any, you're welcome to South Orange Library. He said thank you. If anyone else has any questions, please type them in the chat box. We'll give you a couple minutes to think of your questions. Joseph, just out of curiosity, do you know approximately how many libraries use LibCal for their events?
It's almost all of them.
Okay,
I don't know, but it is almost all of them.
great.
So there's just two other things that I want to go over today. One is registration forms and one is widgets, basically how you can embed your calendar on your website. So registration forms, I've mentioned this a couple of times. So if you have a registration form that you use for your event, say you have a children's event and you want to use that same registration form, you want to create it here. So to get here, I was in the main menu. I went from events, and then across the top, you see these three options. Calendar list, that's where you went to find your calendar. Registration forms and widgets. So registration forms, from here, you can either create a new form or you can copy an existing form. So if you're not really sure what you want to put on a form, go ahead and look at all the different registration forms that are already available here. You can see what other libraries ask for, but if you know you have certain information you would like to use, go ahead and create a new form. If you want to look at other libraries and see what they use, and then if there's something that already has a bunch of information that you would input as well, you can go ahead and copy that form. So it's totally up to you how you want to start the process. Only thing I ask is that you do not delete anybody's form. So when you click create new form, you'll be brought to this initial page where you want to create a form. So first you need to name it. So I'm going to save that. And then I need to find that and actually update it. So here's my test form. I'm going to click on editing, and now this is the information that I'm going to add. So on the right side is the preview of what it looks like right from the beginning. If you notice, it automatically asks for full name, first name and last name, and email. And any other questions I add, when I add them here, it will appear on the right side. So if I ask, what's your sign? I can choose the type of option that I want. If I just want a single line text, I can add that. Or if I want drop down or check boxes, totally up to you to decide. If you ask for any of these, it's going to ask for more information. So if I check radio buttons, it's going to ask me for the options, the selections. Or if I just do single line text, I can choose to make that required. I'm going to add the question, and if you notice, it appears on the right side. Probably not a question that you want to ask the public, but I don't know what your event's about. So this is what my registration form is going to look like. Once I feel this is good to go, you can add other information here as well. Once I feel that this is good to go, all I have to do is click save, and it will be saved. And then when I'm creating an event and it asks me for my registration form, I can choose this one. I recommend when you're creating registration forms that you name it with your library first and then the name of your registration form. That way, it's much easier to find. When you search up here in the top right, you can just search for your library name first and all of your registration forms will come up. Let's just get rid of that form before I forget. Luckily, the system does ask you if you're really sure you want to delete something. So definitely create some forms, especially if you have multiple forms that you use. Create them ahead of time before you create that event. That way you're asking the right questions once registration is open. And then lastly here, on widgets, you can create a variety of widgets that can then be embedded on your site. So the first one is the calendar widget. So it's going to ask you a bunch of information about the calendar. First of all, what kind of view, which calendar would you like? So let's just use Tenafly because that's the one we've been using. So I'm going to say Tenafly. So there's my Tenafly calendar there. This is the preview on the right side. Which view would I like? Let's go for weekly view. And you just go ahead and choose all of the different filters that you would like. So maybe this is, maybe you want to change whether or not it's an online event or an in-person event, so we can choose those here. So just basically, you're going to walk through all the different questions that it asks you, and it's going to create the preview for you here. And then this, as you see, is the URL for my widget. So if I would like the embed code, I just need to change the format down here. And here is my embed code. And I can copy that and embed it on my site. So that is my calendar view. And there's also one called Calendar Old Look. So this is what it used to look like. They have updated it since, but they still give you the option. And then there are different advanced options that are available for this one as well. If you read through each one, it will kind of walk you through the different options. Another one that a lot of people like to use are the mini calendar and the upcoming events calendar. So the mini calendar is just a great small option. I think it looks really great if you don't have a lot of real estate available on your site and you want to use a smaller option, you can do that. And here I can then look for different audiences. So if I just want to do my age 10 years, here it is here. And let's choose my library. That changes things. No, it doesn't. Oh, because I already added it. And then lastly, sorry, next we also have the upcoming events. So this is going to show me upcoming events. I already have some filters, but you see you can scroll through and see all the different upcoming events. And then we also have today's events, which I thought was kind of a cool option as well. If you want to embed this on your site, it will show the event specifically for today. And then same thing for events this week, next 2 weeks, and then next month. So anytime you want to embed something on or anytime you want to embed a calendar from LibCal onto your site, you go to events and then widget, and you're going to choose the one that you want from there. Remember to always choose your calendar from the drop-down menu, and then it'll show you the preview on the right side. Okay. So that is basically everything we needed to get through today. I know it was a lot, but luckily, LibCal is really kind of user-friendly. They offer that info icon next to basically everything, so you're not sure what something is. you can go ahead and hover over that little eye icon, and it'll tell you what that field is all about and what you're doing. There's also a really, really great and very robust help section of LibCal. So you can either type your question and it'll bring up a bunch of different information, or you can look for specifically for training recordings or webinars. And then we also have a lot of different documentation, like I showed you before, within Buckles Connect under training. And then LibCal, you'll see all different kinds of documentation here. Some of it, again, links back to their site, and some of it is stuff that we've written ourselves. So any questions about anything that we went over today?
So I don't see anything in the chat box at the moment, so why don't we give it a couple of minutes in case anyone has any other questions. They can type them in, and while we're waiting, I'm sorry, Joseph.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, while we're waiting, I would just kind of wrap up a little. Again, I would like to thank you, Joseph Palmer, our Web Product and Development Coordinator, for giving us a great webinar, lots of good information. Again, I would like to thank everybody who attended. And if you do have any questions, please type them in the chat box. Looks like South Orange is good.
Great. So just remember, the only thing I really need from you guys is the email account that you would like this connected to, and then the location, your specific library location.
Excellent. Thank you, Joseph.
You're welcome.
So we will, as we said, we will be sharing the recording with you. I'll also be sending you an email this afternoon, just asking for your feedback on today's webinar. If you could please respond, we would appreciate it. And again, the recording will follow separately. So any final words of wisdom, Joseph?
No, it's all pretty user friendly, so you should have an easy time creating your events. But again, if you have questions, let me know.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Joseph. Appreciate the great class. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Bye-bye.